In this session, we're going to look at area of shapes, 2D shapes. What I mean by area is how much space it takes up over a flat surface. So let's look at some different types of shapes first of all. Let's look at a rectangle. If I've got my rectangle here, that's length is 6 and its width is 3. All I'm going to do to find the area of that is multiply the two numbers together. So we do length times width, 6 times 3, which is 18. Now my units will be centimetres squared, because I'm now dealing with area. Let's look at some harder shapes. So a parallelogram is just like a rectangle pushed onto its side. So we just find the area the exact same way. We times the base by the height, or the length by the width, whatever you'd like to call it. So in this example, my base is 15, my height is 9, and 15 times 9 is 135. It's important not to get caught out by the diagonal. We want the actual height of the shape, not the slope. Now let's look at a triangle. For a triangle, we need to know the base and we need to know the height. Again, we don't need the diagonal. So if they put that in there, it's trying to catch you out. So look for the height of the shape and the base. And what we're going to do is we're going to times those together. That would give me the area of a square or a rectangle. But I've only got a triangle, which is half of that. So I'm going to divide it by 2. So base times height, and then half it. For example, base here is 7.5, the height is 9, so if I times those two together I get 67.5, and then I'm going to half it to get 33.75, and my units are metres squared. Now let's look at a trapezium. Trapezium's a bit like a roof shape, and this one's a bit trickier to find, but we talk about A and B, where A and B are parallel lines. They will never meet. It's usually the top and the bottom, but at times, like here, the parallelogram can be on its side. But it's always the two sides that will never meet that we label A and B. And all we do is we add those together, we half it, and we times by the height between them, so the distance between the two sides. So A plus B divided by 2, and then times by the height. So if we look at this example here, I've got my top is 12, my bottom is 8, so I'm going to add those together. 12 plus 8 is 20. Then I'm going to half it, which is 10, and I'm going to times by the distance between them, which is 9, and 10 times 9 is 90, and the units centimetres squared. Now let's look at compound shapes. A compound shape is just a 2D shape that is made up of 2 or more simple shapes. For example, 2 rectangles pushed together to make an L shape, like this. So all I'm going to do is split this into shapes that I know how to find the area of. So 2 rectangles. So if I split it down here, then I've got rectangle A and I've got rectangle B. To find the area of rectangle A, I need to find the width of it, because I don't know that side. But I know the whole length is 10, and I know this little bit here is 6. So I could take those away, and that would tell me that that top measurement is 4. So for rectangle A, the area will be 9 times 4, which is 36. For rectangle B, I've got 6 by 2, which is 12. Once I've found both of those areas, I'm going to add them together, which will give me the total area of the compound shape. So 36 add 12 is 48. So to recap, the area of a rectangle or a square is length times width. A parallelogram is the same, length times width or base times height. A triangle is base times height and then half it. And a trapezium, we find the 2 parallel sides, we add them together, we half it, and we times the distance between them. And for a compound shape, try splitting it into shapes that you already know how to find the area of, and then add them together.